why not?
Planning a heist, eh?
Yes,
why not?
from the coalition, the people we just, started a war with.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Because who else would we be planning a heist against, right?
Usually ourselves, but, it's better that we're doing it someone else this time.
Details.
Oh, yeah.
Unimportant details.
You know what is important details? Mexico.
Mm-hmm. What?
Represent, Char. Represent. Is it a
Is
special
Cinco de
day
Mayo.
today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Cinco. Yeah. And yesterday was May the 4th be with you.
What? It's Cinco de Mayo?
Yep.
Oh, right.
Did you forget?
Got some enchiladas in the oven. Going to get them here in a minute.
Well,
Yes, I forgot.
I'm planning on having palomas, which is, I think it was grapefruit soda and tequila instead of the margaritas.
I have absolutely
Nice.
no plans whatsoever.
All right. 1 second. As a Mexican,
Tequila's
I am
coming
required
out.
to take my obligated tequila shot.
Of course.
Just go take a shot and then shoot some pistols into the air.
I'm glad I derailed the session. Continue, guys.
Jerk.
No, it's
Anytime.
fine. We're currently studying defenses and getting an idea of what we're dealing with.
They have
There-
Blackstone fortresses here.
They do. They don't have quite tier 10 quantums, but they're either very close or they have them in more secure locations that I can't get data on.
And
Gotcha,
even
gotcha.
worse, they have a tier 5 scholar ascended to the negative energy dimension.
Yeah, that's an actual let's call it thing to keep under advisement.
Yeah, all those ascended are in the same meeting room, and the tier 5 scholar is not even in the head seat. He's at the left. He's at the right hand seat of the guy at the top, at the very farther back part of the table, basically head of the table.
Is it weird? I almost want to invite myself to that meeting.
I mean,
You want to invite yourself to that meeting?
I almost want to knock and just introduce myself. Are you not having that same instinct right now, Char?
Considering we're at
guys are
war,
We're theoretically
no.
at war.
Yes.
You see, the Ascended tend to understand what we're doing more, though.
That's true.
I mean, one of the Ascended did help start it.
This is also true.
Because I literally rolled up, talked to them, and they were like, "What's that? You need to conduct a war to keep the organics busy?" No, I get it. Let's do it.
yeah, one of the ascended who's actually a citizen here was like, "Oh yeah, you're having meat people problems too." Yeah, I get that.
We're already being pretentious and elitist. I mean,
if you want to do that, then yeah, but then we can figure out what kind of energy type we're working with for the other two. Problem here is they might not like us, might not want us to leave.
well, that's why we just politely knock from very far out where we can run if necessary.
Sit on the edge of the system, go knock knock.
And if they tell us you're not allowed in or anything like that, we just politely go, we understand, and leave.
And might as well do it then. Fuck it.
And if worse comes to worse, this isn't my prime body, so I'm not under threat. Let's go.
And if worse comes to worse, I think I will have more potential than they do.
Well, that's a guarantee. Because they don't use potentia. Anyway, yeah, we're just gonna knock, Matt.
There's a brief moment, and then the one in the security booth does send you a permission to send a. It's kind of a ping effect where it's like, hey, am I allowed to open up a connection of communication with you? Do you accept?
Absolutely accepting.
Okay. It takes a bit, and you actually watch all of the encryptions layer on for a very private conversation. So it takes about 20 seconds for that connection to establish.
Ooh, that's quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm just like, oh, geez, what are we gonna do now? Got 20 seconds.
We have 20 seconds. I don't know. I'm gonna design a new car. I panicked.
Have
I
a
didn't know
smoke, have a
what to do
wink.
with my time.
Okay. After whatever you do in those 20 seconds, you keep it to yourselves.
Oh,
Troll the forums on your just on your
when
your
you phrase
boards.
it that way, it almost sounds like we're doing something else for those 20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a connection. Hello.
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 These are the Alabaster Fortress shipyards. Please state your intent and purpose to be here today.
We wanted to meet some of the neighboring Ascended, and we noticed, well, neighboring Ascended. If now is a bad time, we can come back, but wanted to establish communication and see about it either way.
Are you here for the lecture? We don't seem to have anyone else on the invite list. Is this a no appointment?
We aren't from the coalition.
Ah, okay. Are
Yes.
you declaring as a walk-in?
Yes.
Very well. The lecture is part underway. You will have unfortunately missed the first part of the lecture, but you may join them if you so wish. Please follow this approach vector and do not deviate. This is a secure zone, and I wish to avoid any misunderstandings.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
We'll just approach in, just like, Aether, this was easier than I thought it was.
Why do we always think it's getting more complicated? Oh, you know what? Because we're used to dealing with humans.
For the first time, we actually did it the uncomplicated way for 5 seconds, and it worked.
By lying, it
I'm
works
blaming
really
you.
well.
No, we haven't lied. We haven't lied once.
Oh, you're from the coalition?
No.
that they were not from the coalition.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he said. Okay.
Nope.
Nope.
Opposite. I was honest.
Okay.
Yeah, as you get
Honesty is my new policy.
in, everything is made out of this woven silver synth metal and these alabaster plating that looked like metal and bone were fused together. It's kind of weird. Nothing in the rest of the coalition looks like this.
Neat.
And then you walk through, and the individuals there, they all have not really any work clothes. They wear some sort of armor or plating, or they're just robots.
Whatever works for that particular person. Yeah.
Hmm?
Because not everybody's as cool as me and Aether who don't need, like, extra bits. Though I'm probably more like the robot people than anybody. Anyway. Not going to interrupt the lecture. Just going to sit down.
Well, you'll be met at the landing pad by some sort of robot wearing scholarly robes.
Is this the Scholar Ascended?
Mm-mm. Looks
Sure.
like this is your welcoming party.
Hello.
Greetings.
We're here for the lecture.
Of course. Please follow me. Do not deviate or stray.
Of course.
He'll walk you over, and he'll push a button next to the door. And there is a brief moment. He kind of nods. You are permitted to enter.
Yeah. Once again, not interrupting the lecture. Just
The
going
door
in.
opens. There are two chairs brought to the end of the table.
Mhm.
You sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah.
The other ascendant kind of look over, kind of confused. But the person at the head of the table, now that you can see them close, if you've ever seen Elish Norn's like kind of art aesthetic, it's kind of this woven white alabaster armor plating with golds and reds. Same kind of thing. At the one at the head of the table. Greetings.
Hello.
You did miss, unfortunately, the first part of the lecture, which is a critical step in learning holy geometrics. But if we go to this particular part of the lecture notes, and as they slide notes towards you,
Yeah.
they're going to continue the lecture on 4th tier power words.
Huh.
Interesting. So when we say holy geometrics, we're talking like
We're talking holy geometrics. Yeah.
Yeah, like actual holy geometrics, like fucking new threat.
Holy geometrics from the Silicon sector? Yeah.
Silicon,
Yeah.
yes, Silicon.
When Matt said
geometrics.
power words, that kind of just clicked. So
Nope, my brain was trying to remember the word Silicon. It was escaping me.
Yeah, so basically, from what you can gain from your assessment, it looks like the coalition, if you were to put in Stellaris terms, you grew around a sleeping ancient ascended race and their territory.
Mm.
And okay, I see.
Yeah.
And these are our teachers from that race.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck, the Silicon are already here. We're screwed, man!
No, these aren't Silicon.
I'm kidding. It's a joke, man.
Silicon already here. Run.
Oh, time to abandon the entire reality. Goodbye. Fucking pirates. Yeah, no, I guess we'll just listen to this. I'll read over the notes, of course. I mean,
exactly.
I remember holy geometrics from that set, from like the those type of holy geometrics. If you were extremely logical, it was not that hard to figure out the basic ones.
These ones are a different approach. These ones, instead of writing a circuit and or a template, you formulate a crystal and you build the circuit in the crystal in a 3 and 4D space. The 4D is a superposition of multiple arrays and templates overlaid on each other but not interfering, but performing the same function within the same space. It's 4th dimensional math.
Neat.
Fascinating.
And they will formulate a large crystal, something about the size of a football, but it is so overlaid with so many different geometric templates. It's kind of hard to look at.
And look we shall anyway.
Exactly.
With our big brain eyes.
Yep. Yeah, these guys, that's their power set. They do crystalline holy geometrics.
What do you want us to roll to try and understand what we're looking at?
Logic.
Just raw logic?
Just raw logic.
All right.
logic at a minus 90.
Well, let me even find my character sheet because it looks like the folders got rearranged.
Yeah.
All right.
All
That's what
right. I'm debating if I want a processor surge. I'll see how I do without the processor surge, and then I'll do a processor surge dependent. I mean, just there you go.
Either.
One second. I'm gonna do some tricky shit.
Oh, are you gonna do more cheeky shit?
Cheeky breaky.
Are you gonna make me processor surge just to keep up with you, you fuck?
I would never make you processor surge.
Not like I don't have extra uses of it stashed around places.
Right?
Yeah.
That's weird. I actually don't have mastery and logic.
Neither do I. I don't know why.
Right?
I don't know how that happened. It just kind of did.
And it just kind of happened.
I am literally a robot, and somehow I don't have mastery in logic.
Fuck
We'll
logic.
figure that. Right, we'll figure that out later.
You have a
Maybe
Milo, that's why. You have a Milo attached to you. That's why you can't receive mastery in logic, because there's always that chaotic element. Same with you,
Ah.
Aether.
Chaotic does that, yeah.
Yep.
Can't argue with that.
Oh, I forgot. I have Spark of Brilliance.
You're-
What
Or
else can I use
can
this
I?
year?
Fuck your logic. I'll argue anyway.
Perfect. Alright. Both of you can pick up the Forbidden Knowledge first checkmark Holy Geometrics. This is a scholastic variant, not the trade variant.
All right, I'm gonna have to put this under other skills because
Forbidden
my
scholastic lore.
my forbiddens are already full.
Woo!
Mine's been full, like,
Everyone likes to touch the forbidden stuff, man. It's just it's
Well, you know, it happens. I mean, I've got things best left forgotten: Nano, Psionic Warfare, Leah, Mukiang, Xenobiology, and then I hit my max.
mhm.
we hear Leah, Xenotech, Pentia, Archaeotech, Phazon, Polyverse, Spectrum, Mana, Negative Energy, Holy
You list
Geometrics.
them out. Just fucking fill it in.
I already filled it in.
Same.
Gotta have AI legal rights.
Yeah, the lecture will go
Mine
on
too.
for quite some time, about 3 hours, and
Mhm.
then the individual will close down the presentation and go, "We are on break. If you
Mhm.
wish, you may reconvene in this meeting room within an hour, and we will do questions and answers."
Mhm.
Do know that while you're on this facility, there is a limitation on where you can and can't go. If you take the tablets with you, that will indicate via the green lines where you're permitted to be. If there is a orange or yellow caution line, that is an off-limits zone.
Hmm.
Cafeteria and or other recreation, when you leave the room, take an immediate right, follow down the hall, and then follow the green arrow to where your desired destination.
He's talking like we're actually gonna go leave. Maybe we could just wander around, socialize.
Mhm.
I guess it wouldn't
Then
be a
we'll
bad
get up
thing.
and kind of wander over.
I guess it wouldn't be bad to actually socialize.
Yeah, I think you should socialize. There's not that Leah sent it here, so I'm always interested in talking to them.
Let's socialize. We'll go social something. Hold on, Mina's just trying to remember how to be social.
Processing.
Processing social circuits. Error. Social not found. All right. I don't know. Just I'll go talk to one of the other robots. We'll compare hardware.
I'm gonna talk to the other Ascended. See what's going on there.
What's going on there is probably nothing good.
I know, right?
I say probably because who actually fucking knows with these people? Some of them are so fucking backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Hey now, we're not backwards. You're backwards.
I'm not backwards. I'm right side up.
Okay. Some of the group goes off to the cafeteria. The others go to a meditative recreational zone.
Meditative recreational zone, huh?
Hmm?
I'll go check out that. We'll start with that.
It is a specific antechamber that is oval in design kind of like a large egg. And it circulates peacefully many different energy types. And it's very calming to the mind.
Already on edge. Hate it. It's calm, relaxing. Means there's something wrong.
Mhm.
It's a trap somehow.
Of course. Oh yeah, 100%.
They're here to steal my cultivation.
What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, are these people just cultivating the energy? Is that what's going on here?
They're not cultivating anything. They're just letting the lazy circulation of these energies bring a calm and zen-like state in their meditation.
Think of like incense.
They're actually hippies.
And they're meditating on the information that they have learned from their lecture.
Sure, let's meditate on the secrets of the universe or something. What can I say? I think that I'll be a part of the group. I won't mock their pathetic beliefs. I won't mock how pathetic they are.
Be nice, behave.
I am being nice. That's what I'm saying. I'm actively going out of my way to be nice.
You know, don't make me replace you with the one that actually goes to school and has a social life.
Replace me.
It does a
with
simple
it?
thing. If you sit down and meditate, you get a plus 20 to rolls while you're in here.
Mm.
Oh.
That's all it does.
Is there actually a point in meditating for us meditating on this geometric thing?
I'm
I'm
only
not.
if you want to think about it and research it in your brain a little bit, but it's kind
I'll
of
do
like
that.
digesting and sorting the information.
Then I'll do it, and I won't use a You know what? Yeah, I will use a programming surge on the meditation just to give me time in my own little world of madness and science.
And
Cher has
what
a
about you,
mind
Aether?
palace.
Oh, Aether is going to go find that Leah or the Leah ascended.
He's in the cafeteria. He's a hungry boy.
And I'm gonna float over and do a very formal bow to him.
Scholar. He recognizes you as such immediately. Can I order you some food?
That would be lovely.
He'll go to one of this weird mnemonic contraption. Select a series of options, and then a stunk canister comes down. Very small. Thinking one of those to-go coffee cup thermals, thermoses. And he'll crack the top, and you can smell phazon energy kind of leak out the top. And he puts a straw in and hands it to you.
I'm just like, I haven't found many things that can withstand phazon.
The canisters are self-destroying after an hour because they too can't hold the energy. But it also does deteriorate the phazon's energy state as it destroys the canister.
Oh, so it breaks it down to Leah.
Yep, and then it disperses once the canister would then breach. And then no harm.
I see.
But you have the sooner you drink it, the better. Keeps it fresh.
Just gonna kind of sip on it as I'm talking.
He'll order one for himself. Dunk.
So, what do you think of the lecture here?
Fascinating. It's not particularly easy for me, and maybe since you're a scholar, you're different. But organized crystalline energy states and energy circuitry is difficult to manifest due to our high energy state and chaotic energy nature.
Actually, if I was to do it, I wouldn't use Phazon in and of itself, but I would use the downgraded Leo version of it. It's more stable after all. But my only question becomes if this would be easier in our dimension to use Phazon to help accelerate the recovery of it.
Yeah. Too bad it's dying. I'm gonna have to. I've been trying to find a way to revitalize it, but some organization or a civilization is pulling so hard on the dimension. I just can't stop it.
I've been working on that actually.
Really?
Yes. I've been actually. I tweaked our output on the negative energy dimension by 0.25% to increase its regeneration rate. What actually happened was there was a sudden transmission of. I'm gonna give like the rough weight of what that Star Slab Forge was.
Roughly 3 black holes.
Yeah, right.
Really? I can never
Yes.
really understand organics and their just wanton use of energy states. They think it's infinite, but it's not.
No, but I have recently had a conversation with them. They've agreed to stop pulling upon it.
Mm.
Well, at least the ones that transported the 3 black holes.
So we'll see potentially a resurgence in Phazon energy.
Yes, but it'll be slow and it'll take time to repair.
That's fine, as long as there is an upward momentum and energy influx into the dimension. Time's not really much of a factor or issue.
Yes. And hopefully with this whole geometrics, we might be able to increase that even more.
Yeah, I'm just learning about specifically crystalline structures to help modify some of the Phazon continents to be more likely to produce a crystal buddy.
That's true. Crystal buddies are very rare to produce.
Mhm.
I was
I'm
very
patiently
lucky to
waiting
find
for the
mine.
right moment. I don't wish to force the Phazon continents as they are into crystal buddies, because then it reduces the mass entirely of the dimension and may put it into a critical state.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure, especially if there's any younger ascended out there, to not rush things right now.
That's what I've been doing. I can't afford to go up a tier yet. I had to do so. I need a crystal buddy, but I don't want to contribute to the problem because of my selfishness and my impatience.
That's very helpful. If you're able to find any others like us, please let me know. I would also like to talk to them so we can make sure we're all on the same page.
Well, besides maybe one other individual, we're it. This particular dimension is very uncomfortable for our people. It's very innovative what you did to help reduce the unpleasant sensation.
Thank you.
But most of those of us kin and whatnot would be probably on the other side of our dimension. That's far more stable, and the individuals there are very talkative. Not very helpful, but talkative.
I might have to go see them. I haven't explored the other sides of our dimension.
Yeah, they have they're kind of at a, well, there's 2 borders on that particular side. Most of us stay away from the left side border, and he'll show you the vector of what left looks like. It's more of a spiral corkscrew, hard left turn, diagonal, Mobius strip move. It's kind of weird. This one we stay away from. It is a very solid energy space. Very low on energy. Lower than this particular dimension. So it's easy to get in, hard to get out, and it tends to drink you dry of energy states because it's so low.
I'm assuming that's not the negative energy dimension, right?
No.
Okay.
As for the one on the right, which I'll show you the calculation for, this one is a chaotic energy state And due to its proximity with us and its interaction with the low energy state dimension, all energy then is pulled into this one. It's just pure high energy, high octane, ultra high energy state, and every entity there is just as chaotic. Hence,
Cocaine dimension.
yeah, the cocaine dimension.
I
Or
see.
the LSD dimension.
Depends on your drug of choice.
This is interesting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look at him like, so what is
Barf.
right. So I guess we'll have to go explore those areas as well to make sure we're all on the same page. Hmm. Fascinating.
Well,
Have
we're
you
all
heard?
aware.
Oh, good, good. I'm a worrywart by nature.
It is good. A lot of us are too. The constant flux nature of our home dimension puts all of us at worry because due to that flux nature, it can spontaneously. Oh my gosh, I can't say that word. Spontaneously. I kept trying to put spontaneous in it for some reason. Spontaneously, thank you. Change the energy value and energy weight.
Mhm.
Yeah, the only way to control it is the vector orbs,
Yes.
which are hard to find these days, despite being at a fixed location at all times.
It's because of the sudden influx. I wouldn't say influx. The sudden drainage, they move in order to keep the boundaries.
What's the mathematical vector drift?
I would give them the rough vector drift that I found. One of the orbs that, not the one I found, but one of the other ones. Which
Luna,
is
you butthead.
which
Oh,
is
can you
also
hear it?
proportional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, you show them the vector drift, so they can know where. Show that we're decreasing in size because of our energy loss.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I can easily locate them. They moved quite a bit there, but not too far. Enough to, well, misplace them for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And I'm looking at them like. Besides that, yeah. I was just curious. I don't see any other phase-on dimensions besides my teacher and my teacher's brother.
Huh. Yeah, no, it's very unpleasant here.
Mm.
I was able to build up a Leah-resistant skin, but most of our kin don't. They don't even bother.
Huh. Fascinating.
You don't need to at higher energy state dimensions, which is why we like to go through the chaotic dimension, because you can just be yourself. Phazon interacts with anything and everything, and the dimension interacts with Phazon. It kind of a beautiful dance of energy exchange. But everywhere else, you have to put a protective layer around yourself so you don't bleed energy state and wither.
Burn holes in dimensions.
That too. You have to be so careful. But it's interesting here. People are more complex, which fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a significant amount of effort, but it's been worth it so far. So I think.
Good. I would like your help.
In what manner?
So a civilization here was creating ascended. Ones and twos most of the time.
Oh, he'll actually give you the sector of space, which is the enigmatic empire, but he just
Yeah.
gives it to you in a mathematical, like those guys over there.
Yes.
Those assholes.
Pretty
Those
innovative,
assholes.
actually, but not sure about their treatment. But they're not really real ascended because they weren't created in the very dimension that they weren't
Hmm.
originally energy beings. So they're converting their biological people into energy states and then turning them into batteries. That's about the savagery I'd expect from me people.
Yes. I'm trying to fix them.
That'll be quite a fixer-upper project.
It is. But as somebody who was once organic, you know. And so I was wondering if you'd be able to help
It's
me.
a burden, isn't it?
Mm,
An
the
organic
want to-
body?
It is.
Hmm.
And the want to then fix the things that you see as wrong. But I was wondering if
Good.
I was wondering if you'd be able to help me. I recently be able to get them to stop making ascended and then turning them into batteries, civilizing them somewhat.
I think
And I
the
was
local term is gentrify them.
yes.
Makes sense.
I almost feel insulted,
I
but also I also refer to them as meat monkeys. So please continue.
was wondering if you'd be able to help me. What they do is to take the baby ascended and have them go careening across our system, screaming in madness until they're able to complete the calculations in a pure moment of sanity before they go insane again.
And how do you want me to help you with that?
I need somebody to be able to catch. How to say? Once I remove them from the battery, I'm going to be having them careen across our system until they hit that moment of sanity.
Why do you need my help?
Someone to catch them in order to keep them sane and stop the
Make
calculation.
Literally. You don't need help. That's small brain think.
You just need to be smarter.
Split your consciousness into two separate parts. Have one operate on one series of calculations, the other on the other calculation. You can be in both places at the same time and do both jobs, and then reconnect yourself afterwards.
Huh. Maybe I was just overcomplicating things.
You're not a meat person anymore. Don't act like one. Don't think like one.
And that's fair. And again, overcomplicating my life. And then again,
You will have a significant downgrade in energy state, as you'll have to split yourself into multiple pieces, which will then downgrade you one tier. And the reintegration of your split selves will be a very difficult process so that you don't lose any energy. And your lower energy state isn't the new one. You have to undergo a critical cascade energy bump to get yourself back to where you were. There will be a bit of energy loss, but if you have a bit of a snack waiting for you or prepared ahead of time, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting things.
I would never split yourself into more than two. The energy states drop drastically, and it can be difficult, if not impossible, if you divide yourself too low to regain that energy and then reach that criticality cascade without a catalyst. So
Well,
Or you can set up an autonomous calculation at the specific catch site. You'd set up a tract of space into which the program would operate, and that would be within your calculation of where they would reach that sanity state, and then the program would activate.
oh, that's actually a better idea. I'll just have to make sure to put up warning signs in case anyone was in the vicinity, so they would know not to enter it.
Just do it in an empty part of space. There's a lot of it.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of empty part of spaces, but that's also the problem, isn't it? If someone randomly flows by an empty part of space, then you get caught, and I don't know what happens if two ascending get smashed together like that, especially at those speeds.
Pretty simple. The one with the
Mhm.
higher energy state either completely obliterates the lesser energy state, especially if it's an unstable existence. Then there is the opportunity for the higher energy state individual to just completely smash through the lesser energy state ascended and absorb their particles if it's close enough to their own. The bigger one kills the smaller one.
Yes, and that's something I'm trying to avoid.
If they are of the same energy state and the same energy type, you have a very rare chance of getting them to collide and fuse, and you'll have a dual mind higher energy state existence. Put two twos together, it may make a three with two minds. It's not a fun existence, but I've seen it. It's very strange. Most of the time it's done to if there's no food or energy other than your companion, and you need more energy to make a jump to potentially a place to find food because you're going to starve to death, then in desperate times you make a criticality collision.
Do their energy states go up?
Yes, temporarily.
Or I'm assuming they try to remove themselves from each other?
At a later time, if there's a surplus of energy within a specific parameter, they'll spin energy off and split themselves slowly back into two separate entities. But the real issue will come when you must split the consciousness.
Mhm.
So if you hit too hard on a criticality collision, sometimes your consciousness overlaps with the other person's and you don't even realize it. So
So here's the question, I guess. What is the new energy state? Is it just a single tier up, or
yeah, just a single tier up. It's very difficult to go up a tier of energy, as you will most likely know. Just because you
Yeah.
put 2 and 2 together doesn't mean you get 4. You may get 2.5.
Yes, I've been working on going from a 5 to a 6, and it is a very slow process.
As you should be. You shouldn't be rushed. You have all the time in the universe and all the time in the galaxy. So, as long as you're responsible about it, it'll happen eventually.
Yes. This has been an excellent talk to hear someone from, like me, but from difference.
Good to talk to somebody from home.
Yes.
Well, I'll be in this particular sector, so there's a lot to study.
That's fair. If you wish, I'll give him roughly where me, Zishi are. Oh, actually, and Zir. Oh my god, what's his name? Zezro. Are at right now, because we're all in the same sector of space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll stop by. Won't be anytime this century, though.
Farewell. I was just gonna float off.
Drink in hand.
Aether made a friend. Good job.
Yeah. You can write down his name as Zrick, Z-R-I-C-K.
All right.
Tier 4, Phazon ascended.
Good to know there's more Phazon ascended out there. That means other people have access to the Leah dimension, so that means that our FTL type isn't as unique. Well, actually, no, they might not have figured out how to move shit through it. Or they were more responsible than us and just didn't. One of the two.
Only crazy people use this stuff.
Only a complete fucking madman would use the Leah dimension for FTL. Our collective species looking, just kind of side eyeing each other.
Well, it wasn't my idea.
Who started that? Everybody shrugs. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Stormfront ordered it. That's the only answer we have.
Blame it on the Stormfront. Works every time.
And it's never actually wrong, much to Stormfront's annoyance.
All right.
Are there any robotic members of this meeting that are of a closer nature to animatronics that I can see? I wouldn't expect it, but I'm curious to see if anybody else has achieved something similar.
The lecturer.
Really?
They're full robotic.
Oh, full robotic.
Mhm.
Is he just like hanging out in the lecture room?
Yes.
Are there people asking him questions and stuff, or is he
Nope.
just?
He said come back in an hour for Q&A. They're preparing for the Q&A section for the lecture.
I'm thinking on whether or not I want to be like, hey, robot to robot. These people, right? No. We'll just wait it out, Matt. I'll just wait it out.
What do you want to do for an hour?
Fap furiously.
Done. All right, time for meeting. All right. Then we'll go to Q&A. All right.
Yeah.
You guys all reconvene. Aether, the tier 4 Phazon, Zrick, will let you sit at a higher position of the table than him.
Mhm.
And the other Ascended, the level 3 Starforgers, also sit further down by 1 seat because you're a higher tier. You're also a scholar.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm more or less ignored.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have a question here. Would I be sitting across from the other tier 5 scholars?
Yes, you would.
Okay.
The lecture will look across the group. Welcome back. We are going to undergo the Q&A section of the lecture. For those who have questions, there will be no hand raising or any indicating physically or through energy manipulation. Please use your data pads. Input your question into the data pad and it will appear on the projector up here. Be careful of your phrasing.
So I did meditate on the whole geometrics thing. Was that just to digest the information? Was there another?
Parse it, defrag it, reanalyze it, reassess it. You're ready for more.
Is there any oddities to it that I noticed?
Yeah. None of this uses holy geometrics. Or not, no, holyverse.
Well,
There's
I'm not
no...
really I'm not really expecting it to.
It does still need a converter if it does do interdimensional math, but it just uses mathematical power words. They are not dimensionally flavored. They are substructure foundational math.
So what I'm hearing is essentially, I'm assuming this counts for Aether too when I say this.
Mhm.
We more or less got the gist, like we understand what this whole lecture, like first lecture is. So it's more that we're ready for higher levels of it rather than actually asking questions about what we already read or already got lectured on.
Mhm.
Is that accurate?
This is also a time to just ask general questions about how does it interact, or what happens if I'm over here and try and do this, or
You know what? I will put up the first question as, does position within the dimension change how the formula is written out? Because it's essentially a formula written in crystal, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'll start with that.
simple, straightforward answer. No. This is a subatomic math structure that is a foundational equation. Anywhere you go, doesn't matter if it's in the negative energy dimension or any associated dimensions, it will always work. But there is a addendum to that. Specifically, if you wish to apply specifics based off of location, you can get more accuracy and more efficiency in your crystal.
Mm. Interesting.
You can spend less energy.
Hmm.
You can also have it so that it uses local energy instead of having to pull from your own core, which is neutral subatomic energy.
Based off of that, that means this also works in the negative energy dimension, which was
It
not
does,
something
yes.
that's not something I asked, but that is something interesting to note.
Um.
Yeah. Several
So-
innocuous questions get asked, like if I were to use it here or if I were to use it in this manner. And it's all just, you can, but if you modify the crystal in such a manner, you're going to get bigger bang for your buck.
Mhm. Um. Aether's gonna actually ask a question if, because it's holy geometrics within a crystal, and it's, I'm assuming a closed circuit, right? Well, it can be closed or open circuit.
Mhm.
How it would do with recycling energy.
It has a very potent energy efficiency ratio. Recycling energy, it does not particularly use more energy than it needs. In fact, there is no need for energy recycling because it only uses exactly what it needs and there's no waste. Any energy that is over the necessary requirement is just left in the crystal and unused.
Mm.
Think of a battery. You drain part of the battery, energy goes down, but it only uses what it needs to power what you had it power.
I see.
Is there any energy byproduct?
There can be, depends on how you build your formulae. Open circuits will create a energy inefficiency and a byproduct because it's an open circuit. But usually you build those in to another system that's connected to that open circuit, and that's where the byproduct would go because the whole point of the open circuit is the byproduct, which is then collected.
Interesting.
It's improper and irresponsible design philosophy to purposely make an open circuit to pollute the energy in the area.
Mm.
Well, that feels almost accusatory immediately. Uh,
Interesting.
Are these mathematical formulas? This is a question to you, Matt, for the,
Mhm.
the current understanding. The current formulas, are they designed for permanent placement or temporary? From what we've seen.
Both. Depends on how you build it.
Okay.
You can build a deteriorating math structure so that after X number of uses, it completely becomes inert and destroys itself. Or you can have something more long-standing, and that's why it's put in crystal.
Okay.
Huh. Okay, so I have another question here.
Mhm.
Because I have seen the Luminari math.
Mhm.
Is it similar to this?
Yeah, it is.
I see. And I've seen through the data I collected. I'm gonna look at this person and look at the data I've collected.
Mhm.
Is this person Luminarian?
Probably.
Interesting.
Do you want to
Well,
ask that?
You know,
Ask it. Ask it.
yeah, my character's gonna ask it.
We're a branch faction. We split off from the main faction due to their violent practices and tendencies.
Hmm.
We're an order of knowledge. We do not agree with the Luminarian approach of assimilate first. It's impractical, and it suppresses all potential opportunities and advancements of knowledge from the local area.
Hmm. Interesting.
We do not agree.
How long have you been within this dimension? As a group.
As a group. This dimension or this sector of space?
Both.
Well, I do not wish to share our arrival time, but we were in position to witness your galaxy's Big Bang. It was one of the most glorious collections of data and research that we've ever been able to collect. It was terrifyingly beautiful.
They're fucking old.
Right.
And we've been consolidating the data and parsing it ever since.
Hmm.
I am glad to say we are 43% through.
I'm gonna look at them for another hot minute. How much of them do they look like Jackie?
They don't.
They're a robot body because they are pure energy beings.
Fair.
On an energy level, how much do they look like Jackie?
They don't.
They don't.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. They have strayed far enough away from the Luminari base that they're basically a different species now.
Yeah, I was about to say either it's effectively genetic drift or, well, either genetic drift on their part or genetic drift on Jackie's part is what I was going to say.
Yeah, right.
I'm a scholar captain of the Alabaster Order. The ship Fortress, currently in the docking bay, is mine.
Interesting.
So, Luminarans, at least a branch group, defend the coalition.
I wouldn't say defense, but more taking an interest. But it's still important knowledge to know, which is why they're able to defend themselves against the Greys. Things have become immensely clear.
Yep. This is probably their only response to the Greys. I say probably because I doubt that I don't doubt that they're sharing information with the coalition, but I think they're probably doing it on a very carefully structured release basis.
If we introduce this piece of knowledge or this piece of technology, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coalition's their experiment.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I don't have any more questions right now that I want to ask in public forum.
See, the thing is, I'm trying to sort in my own brain between what I already know about holy geometrics and what I should ask for this setting and this version of it. Because essentially what I know about holy geometrics base is you essentially go, all right, here's the words I know. Let me just put them out there. And oh, look, I made things happen.
But you still have to. With the old ones, you had templates. Basically, it's kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. You have to draw the
Yeah.
thing.
The symbols and the
Yep.
right runology, essentially.
Yeah. And you had to reach War Dancer to be able to trace living templates and build them as in movement. If you don't reach that state, you were basically stuck with sitting in a lab, getting your template out, and drawing it for hours and hours, if not days, and then slowly over time building one array, one fully actualized template. It's a preparatory building set.
You remember how I got around that.
Well, it required extremely creative variants, yeah.
Pre-made templates.
Yes, I know. That was very good. You had the pre-made templates and you only needed to put the words in.
Yeah. I essentially had a book that I flipped through the pages and went, yep, that's the right one.
Yeah, now that specifically was a very good out-of-the-box approach. Same thing, but they're limited to build a crystal.
There's no way this is the end form of it.
This is just a lecture.
Yeah.
May I ask why you are inquiring about the Luminari? Are they here? Do we need to act?
Scout.
They have scouts in every corner of every dimension.
Exactly.
It's not something to worry about. Most of the time, those scouts get waylaid.
Oh, that's a word for what happens.
Precisely. We have no particular worry. What you do need to worry is an expeditionary scout fleet. They'll have a war cruiser as their main ship. If you see that, that is a preface to invasion.
Well,
Not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
By our calculation, we shouldn't be seeing them for another 50 aeons, unless something happens.
Yeah,
something's going to happen.
Their math is definitely off. Not saying that to him, but their math is a little bit off because there was already one scout vessel that had sufficient information to initiate the invasion.
Yeah.
That we neutralized it is a secondary thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't know that.
Yeah.
Unless you wish to correct them and give them an update.
Maybe we'll say that other calculations off.
Oh. Based off of what reasoning?
They've had scout vessels sufficiently long enough to launch an invasion within the dimension. Ones that were waylaid, yes, but concerns unwaylaid ones, yes?
And
true, just because a scout vessel has successfully gathered enough data for the invasion, that doesn't mean they're going to immediately. They have enough of a powerful fleet that they send it all at once, and then they have a home turf fleet. They only go to one place at a time. And only when they are done and the home fleet or the invasion fleet returns to home do they undergo retrofit, upgrade, redeployment, and then there's a rest period. Basically, digesting their meal.
Mm-hmm.
Then, during that time, plans for the next invasion are underway. They're a very slow species. I would know.
The captain of the scouting has already returned home.
The question is with or without their vessel.
Without.
Then it shows that the captain is under suspicion of what they call going local.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely went local.
And the captain's progeny is looking about finding dear mother.
Jackie's gonna sneeze.
We should not be saying that in a public format, Aether.
I hear thing doop.
They will need to come by if they're serious, offer up a business proposal, agree upon a price, and we can transport them there for their attempt. It will not be cheap, but we are willing.
Well, now we have that to bring back to Jackie. Now that you've told this stranger her business.
Hey, I figured they would know how to do it.
You're not wrong, but we should have at least asked her permission before we did it. You did it. I consider Nintendo can take responsibility for you just saying it.
I'll blame you.
Oh, please. She's allergic to bullshit.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying she's allergic to bullshit. She'll never believe you.
I'm sweet and innocent. I can't do anything wrong.
Speaking of Jackie, what are you up to? You sneeze.
So
Shoo!
Jackie really never got to do much after the whole let's start a war thing.
Oh yeah, let's start that war. Wartime.
Because all Jackie was trying to do was do some stargazing, and then that never really.
Just for your information,
Mhm.
the star that we were looking at turns out it's actually being maintained by a tier 8 ascended who's cultivating that star to be the same environment as its dimension.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's why that thing's invisible and shit.
Nice.
Please continue. I just wanted you to have that information.
You have a name of the star?
What's that?
Do we have a name of the star?
Didn't give us one.
PX2985.
Do we know what type of star it is? Let's call it a invisible star.
It is a energy type unique to the original dimension.
Cool. How do we do this again? For sure, I just put external cultivation into it. So yeah, I've spent a fair amount of time, checking her out. So I'm gonna put some external cultivation into these little bastards. Very big bastard, actually. Very large energy being that is invisible. And this should be one of my special stars.
I was planning to steal it, and then I found out that if I move it at all, that messes up the entire calculation and will piss off the owner.
Sure, the owner would be very, very unhappy.
Yeah, so it made it completely pointless. So I just kind of left it. See, I'm not always a terrible person, just most of the time.
I like how unapologetic you are about it. It's just like, yeah.
I'll grumble about it. How about that?
Pretty much.
So yeah, I'm going to put
Professional grumbler.
10 external potentia into it. Should be all 3 tiers, I think. Threshold, I mean. All thresholds.
Mm-hmm.
It only takes me 1 downtime action to put all that in, so.
All right.
What would you like the special star to do?
All it does is warp energy perception, and it's invisible to the visual spectrum. So
guess
you
the
can render
question
yourself
is-
in.
What is the tier? What does the first, second, and third tier do? I guess what are those 3 things?
Oh, for the tree?
For the it's the key thing. It's the stargazing technique from the Luminary. It's a key technique.
Please put it in chat so I can remind myself. There's a lot of stuff that has happened.
It's what I have currently.
Okay. Mm,
So this would be a special star.
Special in a special way.
for 1 to so you get 1 and 3, or did you get up to 10?
I put all 10 external potential into it, so.
Okay. They can get you up to looks like Gertrude's positive. Yeah, same approach. In bonus of special stars 1 through 9.
So it'd be my 2 of 9 special star. I only have slots equal to my int bonus of my int characteristic.
Key utilizer gain this way. If you use the key from this particular star, it helps obfuscate energy output and detection of said energy. And also, you can just, if you use key with this special from the special star, you can just make yourself invisible. It deflects light.
Cool.
That's weird for a star.
It is. You can pick it up on the ultraviolet spectrum.
Okay.
So yeah, it cannot be picked up on the IR spectrum or the visual spectrum. All the other spectrums you can detect it.
This is just getting weirder for a star.
Yep. Same key gain as from a normal star. It's just it's weird energy.
Okie dokie. The next thing I'm going to do is realize that my friends are gone. So,
No, there's a Mina next to you still.
oh yeah, right. So, what now? Are we still doing this whole, start a war thing, or shall we go somewhere else now? Because I'm kind of done looking at it. It's cool.
I mean, me and Aether, before we just got distracted, we're planning to go conduct a heist.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, planning
Cool.
to steal a battleship.
Nice.
You want in?
You know what? Do you know I can go invisible now?
That's neat.
Oof.
I like that.
Go
So
invisible.
you want to go? You want to go steal a battleship? While planning this as a heist, not as a we walk in and take it thing.
All right. Yeah. So we can do it underneath the nose. I gotcha.
Because then it's actually a challenge.
Well, yeah, I'm down.
Side note
Mhm.
about the thing that we got distracted about. We found a lecturer going on about new stuff that we could definitely get into if you want. It's all nerd stuff, very deep in nerd stuff. However,
I'm very much a nerd in the bronze of the brain. I got swole brain
that
structure.
sentence alone hurts me.
It's okay.
Maybe I won't tell you the other part that you would actually be interested in.
What?
Like,
oh,
really
come
heavily. Maybe I'll just keep it to myself that we found a Luminarian.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
are they like hostile? What's going on?
They've more or less been shaping the coalition for a very long time, as near as I can tell, an experiment of some sort.
Oh, kind of sounds like the Illuminati, something they would do.
Yeah, they're a splinter faction, apparently.
Interesting. I wonder if they know Mom. Anyway.
Thought you might want to, because Aether may have brought up your business with them.
As Aether does. Don't know why he. You don't see Illuminati every day, I suppose.
I was going to recommend we get his contact info and then let you call him when you were ready to, but he just kind of did it anyway.
Anywho, that's our Aether. Cool.
That said, they would be willing to work out a deal for you to get to their dimension if you want.
I mean, I don't really want to go to the dimension.
But you could save your mother that way.
Yeah, I suppose.
Do you not want to save her? I mean, if not, me, of all the people in our group, 100% get it.
I do want to get her back, but I don't think I'm ready to get her back. You know what I mean?
Is it because you don't feel you're ready to go face the other half of your biology, or because you're not sure if you're ready to see your mother again?
No, I really want to see Mum again. It's more I haven't given the spaceship a name yet.
Not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. If I can help, let me know.
I just need to go fight something really bad, big and bad.
I mean, we're kind of planning to do that already.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be, one of the breaker ships, but we came here, so.
There's also some chance that they call themselves the Order of the White Alabaster.
Oh.
Yeah,
weird.
That was it, right? Wasn't it, Matt?
Order of the White
No,
Alabaster.
It's
What was the name of the order?
Oh gosh, it is Order of the Alabaster. I forget which. It was not white.
Okay, just Order of the. I will just call it Order of the Alabaster. Order of the Alabaster.
Order of the Bastards.
Sure. Alabaster.
I like bastards better.
Alabaster, like the color.
Oh, I was just thinking Order of the Bastards because they seem like bad guys.
Well played, Jackie. Well played.
Absolutely, if they turn out to be villains, which there is some chance they will.
I got you. All
But
right,
then
so you're
again,
saying we could go
I'm a
fight a guy?
paranoid person, so.
Okay.
Anywho, yes, they're a thing. And if you want to meet them, we know where they are now. They're in the coalition. Near as we could tell, they've been shaping them for however long.
Gotcha.
Yep. Man, why is it every time we find a new place, a new country or what have you, they always seem to turn out to be run by Ascended?
Well, we can
It's
always
on
go up.
Ascended.
I'm still saying that.
Mm.
Just because I'm wrong doesn't mean I'm correcting myself.
So, yeah. I should take a little break. Come a little. You think I can just go?
But
Yeah, I'm gonna go teleport out somewhere. Do you want to come with?
sure. What do you mean teleport out somewhere though?
I'm just tired of them just firing blasters and nets at us. So I figured it would be nice to just go somewhere else for now.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I stopped noticing they were doing that at some point.
All right.
Because they have stopped. They've set up a cordon instead.
Oh look!
Yeah.
We're now an obstacle.
All right. So let's spectrum shift to someplace else.
Where
I
you going?
As we step,
Where do you want to go?
I just want to go somewhere that I can lay low for a bit.
To
Do you think that that planet we got the coordinates for, that planet full of iron, is close by?
I mean,
You know the one I'm talking about, right? The
I'll
one
check
where
coordinates.
the one we got at the auction at the little underground place in Ouroboros.
Oh, that?
Remember how we we
Oh,
got
that! Yeah. I'll check the map to see. Matt, are we anywhere near close that?
No. It's not in coalition space. We're near it.
You want to go anyway?
Yeah, you want to take the ship, or do you think we just jump?
I said we just jump.
All right.
I mean, I don't need to breathe. You don't need to breathe.
We don't need to breathe.
What do we need a ship for?
I just like going in style, and I got an extra, seat. So,
I mean, if we want to show up in style, I could always get one of my battleships.
no, but I mean, my ship's cool though. It's like part of me now. It's also from another dimension.
Fine, we can take.
You could walk there in a mech.
We'll take the cool Luminarian ship there if you insist.
Oh well, we can't do it here though. That would just start too much trouble.
Would it?
Fuck it.
I mean, they've already set up a cordon around us like we're some sort of creatures that have decided to habitate in a star system that they've decided they don't want to deal with anymore.
All right, so Jackie pulls out the crystal corkscrew. That is not its name currently, just describing it as what it is. And
you just I mean, call it like the endless fractal or something.
No, Pierce the Veil is what it's going to be called.
What? Well, if you know, then why haven't you just named the damn thing?
I mean, I have to give it a name in a grand way, which is fighting off enemies that are important to the Luminari. Remember that whole thing?
It was just worthy foes, right? Let's just go start a fight with somebody then.
I'm just like
Those
full on
that-
fight mode. Let's go, bro.
Anyway.
I don't know. Let's just show up on like the far side of the coalition. You pull out the ship and you just start shooting people till it's satisfied.
remember, we can only do it like once per hour, though. Unless they chuck it with potentio, just like, blast it full.
I don't see how this changes anything of what I just said.
No, that's true. But that would be mean, though. That would be like break them apart in different particles and just send them to the negative dimension.
Oh no! What are we going to do? We might start a war.
All right, so Jackie's going to take out check out Pierce the Veil and have it come out of the, just
if you don't want to do it,
piercing the
don't
veil.
want to do it. I'm just saying, don't use that as your reason for it.
No, I got you. Anyway, door opens, Mina jumps in, and then we
are frozen in place as an alabaster fortress shows up and locks you in place.
As expected.
And isolates you from real time. And tractor beams you and your ship into the fortress.
Well,
right.
I believe we were hopping through portal first, so I'm not sure what order. What order were we doing this in, Jackie?
The moment it comes out of this, the isolation bubble, the little glass,
irregardless of where we are, got it.
Yeah, irregardless of where you are, the moment it comes out, there is an alabaster fortress, and it has sealed you in a space.
I have one important question then.
Mm-hmm.
Only one. How does my numerous anchorings affect this?
You are perfectly fine, as long as you are not trying to interact with the barrier locking you into the isolation.
Is this a similar barrier to Prism Tech?
No, this is a wholly geometric containment sphere.
Cool, I'm going to start studying it while we get hauled in then. It just
get pulled into
getting smacked in the arm. I found something cool. Let's continue.
All right.
You get pulled in, and eventually,
Jackie, I swear this is usually Aether that does this to me.
That's all right. You got to change it up a bit.
A change of. Yeah, you're fair. Sorry, please continue. Now I'm really done.
You're met.
No, I'm fucking with you, please.
You were met by 3 individuals. 2 look like guards. One looks like a scholar knight, very similar to the one that you are listening to a lecture to. Different modifications, different armor style. It looks like they differentiate each other based off of aesthetics of their body.
Hey, Jackie.
Yeah.
This guy might be a cousin.
Greetings.
Greetings. Good day to you. I don't really know how the formal things work in this side of the world. My name's Jackie. Nice to meet you.
We will determine if it is so.
Yeah.
Hello.
We have pulled your ship and yourselves here for one simple reason. Would you like to make an educated guess, or would you like us to tell it to you frankly?
If you're
Probably
here
because
to probe me, at least buy me dinner first.
Probably because the ship has come into real space.
Yes. Luminary scout vessels.
Yeah.
It's best to eliminate them before they can send the information they have gathered back.
Oh, we already reset that. That's not happening.
We are aware, otherwise we would have removed you from real space.
No, appreciate it.
in a more permanent fashion.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, educated guess, you're probably actually here to find out who managed to hijack this technology and make sure it's not somebody who's an actual threat. And also not to have it attract the attention of the Luminari fleet, as there's some chance that they have monitoring in place to notice when one of their ships starts taking military action in one form or another.
Hmm.
How am I doing?
Actually, quite well. That was a very educated guess. We do not like to jump to conclusions first. That leads to misunderstandings and grudges.
Well, formal introductions then afoot. My name is Jacqueline Zycaria.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys know each other on the other side? Mina here filled me in on a little bit of your subsect. You guys are a branch from the original. This do your own thing.
Yes. Our purpose and our approach is fundamentally different. Instead of going to conflict
Right.
with our own people, we have chosen peace and have moved on and formed our own order and found a new home.
Hey, that's great. I think that's really, really good compared to all the crappy things I hear about my distant relatives.
I see.
So, is this a request for us to put that ship back?
Not necessarily, but into the future, please do not have this vessel in open and real-time space within the coalition boundaries.
All right.
If you wish to be transferred outside of coalition space, we can do so.
That's all right. We have other ways of travel. Just didn't know these were part of the rules, I suppose.
How far does coalition space exactly go around here?
Whatever they declare their borders as.
Can we have an updated map? Because we don't actually know.
Updated map doesn't particularly matter. The older map actually would be more accurate. They will provide you an older map, and it's a much, much smaller space.
So this is what they actually own rather than what they're claiming. Got
This
it.
is what they can protect, and that is space that we officially recognize as coalition space. And there is a updated map that's presented with color rings in layers outside of that space from the first map. These are the time dilation over the last 200 years of what the coalition has claimed as territory on a galactic scale to
They can only hold a fraction of that, can't they?
They can only hold what I sent on you to their first map.
I will compare, Matt.
It's a fourth.
That's still a fraction.
Hmm?
Yep, that's about right.
And with this most updated map, they have gained 2,000% increase in territory.
I'll check to see if we're on the maps that he sent us. The New England Empire, I mean.
Yep. From the most updated map that you basically gave that one captain, your claimed new buffer space, the new buffer space beyond that, and then you're like, yeah, all that behind it, you guys can have it. And they went, done. And that space is 200 times larger than the coalition, even with the all the extra unprotected territory.
Man, and here I thought the enigmatics were greedy. Like, she says that out loud, looking at, like, their claimed space versus current space.
It is not a particularly viable space. The race, which fled into your territory, and that you have been at war with for such time, is a very carnivorous species. They don't just imbibe in energy and mass, they also devour planetoids over time. Rather than live on them, they make their homes a movable vessel. There is not much.
Know.
There's not much resource in that territory.
Yeah, we know.
So
We haven't been fighting as long as we have without learning that much.
precisely. Do be careful. If you do inherit them, they will eat you out of house and home permanently.
We're making plans in that regard.
They'll have to undergo a significant transformation as a species of whole to be able to be self-sustaining and self-sufficient rather than carnivorous parasites. Locusts, I think, is the word.
Yep, that would be accurate.
Hmm.
Cool. Jackie, you got anything else here?
Is there anyone I can go fight that, since you guys are on the peace side of things, is there anyone that you think would be worthy of me giving my ship a name?
Well, from one of the local adjacent dimensions, a species of greenskin has found its way into this dimension.
Oh, I see.
Greenskin?
Yes, orcs. Space orcs.
Space orcs. That sounds fun.
They may even be competitive with your cultivators. Just by sheer raw strength.
Neat.
Ferocity. And general disregard for self preservation and safety.
So you say they're adjacent to this dimension. All right.
Mm-hmm. Their species has a nasty tendency of spreading like a spore cloud. Even through dimensions. It's very rare, but if the collection of chaotic energy reacts poorly due to the high concentration of a single area, dimensional breaches can open and portions of them will be sucked through. That's how they spread from dimension to dimension. Completely by accident.
I think I have a better explanation, Matt. Wah!
It literally, wah! Gazgul went, we're going to get him! No one gives Baelai but me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So you have a space Hulk filled with orcs and some support ships somewhere in the tapestry. Or in the dimension.
Support ships. Big quotes on that.
All right, seems
Big
like a good thing to eat.
ships.
I'll just eat them so they can't spread. Sounds good. Yeah.
No, I'll eat them. So I can steal the genetics.
Please do not eliminate them.
Oh?
Not entirely. Find them an area in which they can settle down, crash their space Hulk and ships into that particular planetoid, and let them propagate. In a controlled manner, of course. We wish to study them and how they interact with the species of this in this dimension.
All right. I suppose that can be amenable.
They also are a war race. That is their
cool.
literal purpose of existence. Aren't your people looking for a perpetual enemy to fight?
Yeah,
perpetual war right there. Yeah.
It sounds better than our current plan, especially with our cousins here being.
By the time they are ready to be engaged in perpetual, even spacefaring warfare, with you and yours, you will have your hands full with the Coalition and their vessels. Not that it should be too much of a problem, but they will make a new expeditionary armada in earnest, and they will borrow some of our quantum technology.
Is that how they're getting around on FTL?
Yes. We introduced crystalline quantum jump computers into their civilization to see what they do with it. We weren't displeased.
Oh, it's certainly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I have a question for you. Do you know about the numbered subjects from the Igmatic Empire?
No more than you do.
Damn, I thought I'd rack your brain with it, but no more than we do, eh?
You know, that's not actually an answer to that question. I mean, theoretically, that is an answer to the question, but that is the most evasive way to answer that question you possibly can come up with.
I mean, maybe the Illuminati just speak differently.
No.
Give them benefit of the
Whatever
doubt.
information you have within your knowledge matrix, we also have too.
Ah.
That's why we don't know any more than you do.
You see,
brought
now
it up.
that
You brought it up on your surface thoughts, which makes it readable.
you see, that is an actual answer.
Nice.
It is not something we knew about, but now we do. But no more than you.
Interesting.
In fact, we can accurately say we know exactly what you know, up to the point of exactly what you know, and no further. But also no less.
Now, when he says that, is he including me in that?
Anything you
memory-based
bring to
thing?
your surface thoughts, they can read it instantly. And they can also dig a little deeper to extrapolate additional information on those thoughts. So if you only come up with a eighth of all the relevant knowledge, they can get the other 7/8 with a little bit
And
of
this
effort.
isn't like a psionics thing, right? This is something
It
different.
is not.
What about external fortress? Internal fortress, whatever it is.
It's not invasive. It's passive.
Okay, so,
It
yeah,
is not an attack.
gotcha.
I would very much argue that we have been dealing with psionics and basically passive observation things that I feel like that is not. I feel like that shouldn't be a thing, given that like how much we have to deal with psionics.
It's not
Like,
psionic.
Energy based, I guess, which is not psionics.
You're inside the fortress. They're using the ship against you.
Okay.
I feel like we should notice that before being told that they're doing it after that, though.
It's only surface things. If you guard your thoughts like you do as a psionic, you can obfuscate information. But anything you bring to the forefront of your mind, untrained and unguarded, they can dig into it.
Remind me to give you better psionic training later, Jackie. Anti-psionic training, I mean.
I mean, I got an organ.
That's not anti-psionic training.
It's
Fair.
not particularly psionics that you need to protect yourself from. We use a series of holy geometric crystals, and
If you're reading surface thoughts, the principles are same and cross-disciplinary at that point.
That is accurate, yes. The same practices for thought censoring and protection and shielding your thoughts. It is cross-foundational.
So yeah, Jackie, remind me to add that to the training list for later.
So this is a pretty cool ship. It's not bigger than mine.
Yes, it is a tier above carrier. It is a tier above space station. It is a fortress. But it is also a
Very
fortress of
nice.
knowledge. We do not build
Very
these as
nice.
primarily weapons. They are
Yeah.
our home.
Gotcha. I like it.
Mhm.
So the question is, how did you get it to be so big then?
Well, over the course of millennia, we painstakingly grew and crafted each and every single piece of this ship.
So it wasn't more of a evolution from what I understand Luminary ships do. It's more of a build.
We grew it,
Gotcha.
just like other Luminary ships, but we have a significantly different approach. The
Gotcha.
Luminary ships are extremely fragile when it comes in contact with specific energy types or collision of energies or kinetic impacts of
Right.
significant
So
nature.
me putting a bomb here isn't going to do much because you've built it to be
To
better
withstand.
in the current vision.
Yes, we use the core Luminary growing techniques and crystallized computational and wiring techniques and designed a new armor system and support system structure for our vessel.
Neat. I like it.
It does, unfortunately, increase the amount of time it takes to grow it by nearly 10,000%.
Gotcha. But it's 10,000% better at that point.
Not necessarily. It's
It's
still a work in
exaggeration.
progress.
I don't know.
The armor is up to spec, but we are looking to improve. But until we find a formulae of armor growth in which we are satisfied with, we will stick with what we have now.
Can I suggest a cultivation technique to increase your armor?
No, you may not.
Oh, they can't do it anyway. They're not human, right?
No, they're not. And you can't because I'll have to shoot you immediately for betraying the Eth at that point.
Oh,
It
But I've
is
never
something that
betrayed
we
an
would
F.
wish to reach out to your civilization about trade. You have created an energy system in which we are very fascinated about, but we do not wish to impose upon your intellectual property.
Gotcha.
I will tell you now, it will certainly stay that way.
Neat.
We are trying our own experiments, but we were going to do it through our own methods. Perhaps we'll have some success. Perhaps we won't. Who knows?
Right, well, today's been exciting, hasn't it?
I was inspecting on this ship today. I mean, I heard you guys had a ship, but I didn't know. I wasn't expecting to see it.
We would like to let you go and let you go on your way, but only if you can answer 2 questions for me, please.
Sure.
We appreciate this. Have you disabled all of the tracking features on your vessel?
I have complete control over my vessel.
That's not what I asked.
Yes.
Are you certain? There are 14 different methods of data tracking within the vessel. Have you disabled all of them?
With my control, there should be none. Check for yourself.
We have. And I don't believe you have. There are 2 specifically that must have consent from the ship itself, which is, I think the term is airplane mode.
Okay.
You have
So-
to convince the ship into going into a non-broadcast and non-receiving broadcast state.
This is helpful information. Thank you. Jackie, why don't you make sure it's actually in that state?
All right. So I'm going to communicate with the ship, and I'm going to say, please put yourself into airplane mode.
Isolation mode is not acceptable at this time. And it will give you a whole list of reasons, most of which is they're inside a a warship, and this is a threatening instance to its existence. So if it goes in airplane mode, that is only detrimental.
That's fair.
Okay, what's the second one that I've missed? Because obviously I wasn't good enough in my takeover.
It's simple. It's actually something that the warship also has to agree on. Specifically, its active probe status. It sends a burst signal every once in a while to let the Luminari know it is still active, that it still exists, that it has not been destroyed.
Gotcha.
And it will continue to do so even through isolation mode. It is less frequent, but it will still send a ping once a year to let the fleet or the Luminari know that this vessel is still operational. You have to convince the ship to play dead.
Can it still grow that way?
Well, it plays dead to at the captain's request. It is a military tactic to let the potential hostiles in the area think that you have been destroyed.
Oh, it's easy then. I'm going to tell my ship to play dead because if you play dead inside this situation, then they'll think we're less hostile.
I'll have you roll a charm test
It's
and
easy.
then a command test.
Easy peasy.
It's a bit resistant to the idea, just a smidge.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And commands.
this is just a reminder as to why I don't do sentient ships.
That's fine. So we're going to use our good old reroll system here.
Oh, yeah, no, Liam, sentient vessels is exactly what you want. There's so many improvements.
We're going to reroll the charm with fate point. And then we're going to
No way you run
reroll
into
the
stupid bullshit like
commands with the fate points. Okay, there we go. All right, let's use our. Let's invoke a coin toss with a.
You could just let it see if it passes with that, because you are the captain and it might just concede with just a pass test.
Yeah.
Just in the interest of perhaps not overthinking it.
It will reactivate in 10 years, and you do not get a say.
Just turn it off in 10 years.
Yeah.
So my black potentia of control is not coming into play here.
Oh, it definitely should.
It is coming into play. It's letting you actually convince it to do it. It's just this is a core part of its personality as a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
It will potentially over time question your competency as a captain, because it is a soldier. It's not just going to blindly follow you.
I mean, I would argue, since it is a soldier.
But it is a vessel. If it was a rank and file soldier on your ship, yes. But it's the vessel itself.
Probably because it is a scout vessel in the first place.
Yes. And its original captain went native.
Well, like I said, it's probably because of the whole going native thing, like the fact that it was a scout vessel made to operate outside of fleet control, because otherwise that'd be very poor soldier design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Within 10 years, it will automatically exit airplane mode and the playing dead tactic, and it will broadcast again.
We'll deal with it then. That's 10 years from now. We'll definitely have not forgotten.
Okay, put a remind me 10 years in my system.
Just,
IQ.
hey Siri, remind me in 10 years.
No, it's hey IQ.
It's AIQ. Set a timer for 9 years and 364 days.
What is this alarm going off? When did I set this?
Reads alarm name. Turn off
Off.
beacon. Oh, right!
Oh shit, that's tomorrow? Oh crap.
I thought I had another century. Shit.
All right, what's
Yep, I gotta suplex you.
I've done what you've asked for the first question. What is the second question you have for me, cousin?
Cousin, we are no such thing.
Relative terms. Please continue.
No,
Thank you,
we are
Mina.
just correcting misinformation and misunderstandings. We're not cousins. We are not related.
Do you know my my bloodline? Do you know who my mother is?
Mm, You have neither bloodline, but you potentially do have a mother. You have no biology whatsoever.
Hey, so it's a turn of phrase among our people. The enigmatics, I mean.
And I chose to ignore it.
That's all right.
Well, I tried to help. You can continue with what you were doing.
Second question. What do you plan to do with the vessel?
Oh, I plan to go see my mother, and also to well, I guess use it for travel. See the sights.
You will not be able to get your mother back with that vessel. That vessel will betray you against its will when you arrive in system. It will be overridden and commandeered.
You underestimate what I plan to do, and it is a part of myself. I don't know if you've realized that.
Yes. We can see that.
So I'm glad you decided not to kill a part of me. It would be not very peaceful of you.
We wouldn't be doing any of that. If you're going to go after your mother and you go to the Luminary home system, that is an inevitability. You will be seized the moment you arrive, isolated, and dragged in. And the vessel will be overridden and shut down. I think you underestimate who you're trying to go up against.
I ask you one question.
Of course. How can I answer?
The Holy Geometrics, is that the basis for how the Luminari actually function?
No, that is what we of the Alabaster Order have developed.
Interesting. Thank you.
We do not wish to share it with our progenitors. They would only use it for nefarious means and further interfere with research and the gathering of the sacred knowledge.
Well, why not do it for me then?
In what manner?
Well, if you teach me holy geometrics, wouldn't that stop them being able to take over the ship?
You'll have to teach us your potentia.
Hmm.
But I think that's treason, and your friend will have to kill you for it.
It's true, and I would die for Neith, so that would make sense.
It would have to be of something of equal trade. Knowledge for knowledge. You, of course, will hold back, but so will we. And eventually, we will tiptoe one little bit at a time towards more trust and more sharing of information. We have time.
All the time in the universe.
More than that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool.
Any other questions?
No, you guys are the ones asking questions. Have I answered the
Well,
questions for you?
Of course.
I mean, I was asking questions too, to be fair.
we
I
just
feel like mine
remarked-
are more, personal. Like, hey, you can keep the ship if these questions are answered.
Fair.
Um,
Fair.
the
Yeah.
ship's main weapon is dangerous, even for a scout vessel. We were merely concerned it may be used inappropriately, is all.
Can I use it on the greenskins?
We would recommend it does not be used at all.
Oh.
It shakes the foundation of reality when it's fired.
Yep, saw that one coming.
It creates a
Hmm.
destabilized space and thins the dimensional barriers.
I mean, come on, Jackie. You should have expected the response to be something killjoy like this.
You could, on the other hand, tune the weapon to fire it at a lower energy state. It
Yeah.
wouldn't remove the problem outright, but it would completely destabilize the problem. Put them in disarray. Think of a collective EMP gun, but it's energy based. That way you can stun and apprehend other Ascended.
Cool.
You know, any sufficiently large EMP works on biologicals too.
Indeed. If you tune it down to its most minimal setting, you could EMP a city, knock out all electronics, and then knock the entire population unconscious for about an hour.
Well, it depends on species.
You're correct. I was merely representing your base enigmatic on your homeworld. They do not have. They do not have
They're pathetic.
stout physical capabilities.
They are pathetic by design.
We've been
I
watching.
have a question for you. Can my other self, let's call her my sister, come visit you sometime to learn more about her history?
I don't see why not.
All right. I think little Jackie would like some time on weird spaceships. That is,
We
if stepmom approves.
We take the imbibement of knowledge very seriously. If they are not ready to envelop themselves in the imbibement of said knowledge, then we will unfortunately ask them to wait. This is. I'll be frank, we do not do well with children.
That's too bad. All right, I thought I'd ask.
If their maturity is of a high enough level, then perhaps shortened lessons and self-study can be amenable.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Looks like we're just gonna take a step out then. Thanks for not killing me. I appreciate it.
Not wish to enact violence as our first recourse.
Well, you are a peaceful species of a non-peaceful species. I do see it.
We are a more peaceful species of the main species. We are not peaceful.
I mean, you're peaceful in the sense that. No, never
Very
mind.
relative
yeah.
senses.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. What's your name, by the way?
Tyrant.
Oh, fitting.
The name of the
Nice.
vessel in which I command is the name of the captain. This is the Alabaster Tyrant.
Nice. This is Piercing Veil.
Will be Piercing Veil.
Or Pierce the Veil. Whichever one they prefer. But they don't really want a name yet. They don't think they're worthy, even though, they are. They just don't know yet. All right. Mina.
Yep, time to leave.
Do not take that vessel back to its origin point. That is all I have to say.
Okay,
Farewell.
as in origin points. Gotcha.
We'll need a point of reference on that one, actually. You say origin point. Do you mean where it came into the system, or are you talking about the pocket dimension we found it in?
Those are both safe. Back where it was constructed.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I just, it's nice for clarification. I appreciate that, Mina.
Of course. Sorry, that is our fault. The inaccuracy of our statement. We apologize.
Accuracies for origin is very important.
We have been corrected.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go see Allie. She just got back from work. Ruby.
Back to the other two yahoos.
As soon as I hear the word origin, I'm like, okay, let's be very particular here for return to origin reasons.
Yep. No, it's absolutely a good thing to point out. And they're like, good call.
There's many origins. In
Specificity.
Cool. I think
Aether and you are still in the Q&A part of the meeting.
Do we have more questions?
I have a question for you.
For me?
Yeah. So are you and Jackie alive still?
What?
Are you and Jackie alive still?
I wasn't feeding you live updates.
I know. You just said you guys got captured. So my question is, are you guys alive?
I didn't
Do
say
I need
that.
to...
Did I say that?
Yes.
I mean, I'm alive.
No, there was a remark at the very beginning. The you in the meeting remarked kind of little to Aether. Gosh dang it, Jackie. Aether's the only one that usually does this to me, not you.
No, I mentioned that to Jackie direct.
No. You slapped me. I'm like, we. You slapped me. You're like, we did something. I was like, well, are you guys alive still?
We're alive. Gotta look at some of their tech. Matt, for that shield, just as one last thing, can I make any rolls to try to figure out the mathematics behind it? For that isolation thing they dropped on us, I mean.
That's a little bit above the level of your knowledge.
It's a lot above the level of my knowledge, but I was curious if I can roll on it anyway. If not, that's cool.
No, go ahead.
Cool. I'm gonna throw. I'm gonna throw my thing behind it. My program.
The biggest dickus.
My surge. My processor surge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to roll the Holy Geo, or do you want me to roll base logic? Or just
Holy Geo. If you don't have Holy Geo, you can't roll on it.
Okay. Boop 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 boop. There's your number.
All right. Looking at it.
I can do the math
can
on that if you like.
Pick up a little bit more about it, but this one is this is the implementation and use of mastery of Holy Geometrics. That is a ship who's like, pew! Here you go. We're gonna trap you and pull you in.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need to get up to 4 check marks.
I actually understand it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but if you get there and then you're exposed to it another time, you can potentially pick up mastery from just watching what the ship does.
Okay. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, no, see, I've now seen one of their ships, like one of the fortresses up close. It's
Hmm.
neat.
I see. Have
It's
you
neat, ain't they?
stolen all the schematics already?
Nope, their stuff is actually more complicated than that,
Mm,
right? Like,
fascinating.
yeah, no, it's the ship itself is a grown crystalline structure.
See, I was planning on doing that for one of my ships.
You see, I'm pretty sure I could recreate the actual crystal structure, but it wouldn't be the same crystal as the issue.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is it's actually formed via their geometrics here, which means it's imbued with a different quality by the very nature of being associated.
It is actually not Luminari crystal. You're correct. That whole ship is woven geometrics. That's why it took millennia to build.
So, I mean, as one piece of informational, or two pieces of informational, one, the very fact that the Grey's weapons can put pitting on one is frankly impressive. And two, we won't be able to recreate their whole structure until such time that I can actually recreate the geometrics.
Until you can recreate the geometrics.
Would you like me to say we instead?
And there you go.
Well, I'm not going to. Fuck you, it's mine.
Let's see, this is why you get the
You
bad
didn't
math.
you didn't share the good map with me, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
share the good map with you.
What do you mean?
don't
I
share- you didn't
shared the
share-
good
you
math.
didn't-
I
no, you
shared the good
didn't.
math with
I
you.
had to pull it out of you like I was
You
pulling
still
teeth.
got it. You can't even go there with me, alright?
I
Oh my
can
God.
go there with you.
Arguing about math. I've
I
never seen
will-
players argue
I
about
will
math.
reluctantly give it to you eventually then. How about
Alright
that?
then, I will reluctantly give you the next bit of good math eventually then. I gave it to you when you asked, okay?
Know what? You're right. You're right. We need to end this before it gets out of hand. Truce?
Truce.
Math truce. We will share the good math with one another. Because otherwise we're going to do this forever. And then we'll
This
be no
friendship
better.
ended over math.
Then we will be no better than Matthias.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
Side note,
that's a little too far.
No, I'm making my point. We have to be better than him.
hmm
On that note, I'm also going to put up a different thing into the questions that is definitely going to get weird looks from anybody that doesn't know. Does the name Matthias mean anything to you guys?
Specifically, who are you saying this to?
I'm putting it into the Q&A. I assume he sees it before it pops up anywhere else.
The individual looks at it and it pops up on screen. Oh yes, he came by once. He was not ready for the information we had to share, or the information he requested, so we turned him away.
Interesting. Son of a bitch, he was here. Aether, he's trying to beat us to the good math.
Alright, well, we're just gonna have to kill him because he can't beat us to the good math.
No, only we can have the good math. And we still argue over whether or not we should. Why are we like this? Okay. Okay. Can I ask what he was looking for?
He wished to imbibe in the very same thing I'm lecturing about. He wished to understand first level holy geometrics, but unfortunately, it wasn't that he is not smart enough to understand, but I sensed his intention for it, and I did not want to be complicit.
That sounds accurate. Then why are you teaching this class? or doing this lecture?
It was requested.
By?
My sibling.
Hmm.
We, as a collective, specifically have our different projects, different interests, avenues of research. My sibling Tyrant specifically has a fascination with introducing pieces of information and seeing how that disseminates and how it affects this dimension over time.
Interesting. Glad they're upfront about it. What?
We very much appreciated you coming today.
What if we wanted to learn more?
That will not be possible for the short duration. Tyrant is in charge of this specific research project, but they are currently on patrol duty since my vessel has taken damage and must be repaired.
How many of you were actually here?
Just us three.
Are there only 3 of the vessels then?
Yes. We have many of our ilk living inside these vessels, as they are home, as any of your cities would be home for you. But there are only 3 of us, 3 captains, 3 ships.
I have one other question, and that would be how we could get in contact with your Alabaster Order for diplomatic purposes.
That's a good question. You can always come by this particular shipyard and do a request for entry. We don't like to do long distance communications. They can be intercepted.
Yeah, fair. Very fair. Very fair. Well, that's all my questions. How about you?
Either is pretty good.
Are there any interesting questions that come up from the other participants then?
When is the next part of the lecture? The next part of the lecture will be held by Tyrant themselves. Once my ship is repaired, it should take about 121 years for the regrowth of the hull plating. Then a transitionary period of 10 years for the ship to be deployed, restock supplied,
Fucking
and
immortals.
and then Tyrant will dock their ship for the new retrograde crystals emplacements.
Fucking immortals.
So call it 125 years.
Matt, I'm gonna set my timer.
Deet.
Ding.
If you come by within the next century, we can absolutely reserve your seat.
Can we reserve a seat now?
Of course. They will do a crystalline invitation card, and they will manifest it through their holy geometrics and pass it out to both you and Aether. Considering yourselves reserved for the next lecture.
Matt, I'm absolutely signing up as Luna/Milo Morgan.
Hello! You are adorable. I love everything about what you're doing.
She's great. She's my favorite ever.
I licked all of the doorknobs from here to the hangar.
If anything happened to her, I would kill myself and everybody around me.
Understandable.
Mm.
How were the doorknobs? They were delicious.
It's like, yeah.
At least I got her down to only licking the doorknobs.
I had a taste to see if there are bad guys around.
Are there?
Not that I know.
We haven't tasted any bad guys here.
Mm-mm. You can tell by the way they grab the door knob.
You know, they do tend to grab it in a very villainous way.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what the reality mapper will tell me. Because if I lick it, I can get more data.
I'm debating whether or not I should be surprised by that statement. I'm going to go with no.
Now it explains why Milo does all of this crazy batshit stuff. They're using the reality mapper for additional information.
By licking shit.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right. You know, I just assume she did things for a reason, even if that reason was just that she was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the end of that thought.
They're still crazy. They could have put their hand on it and had the same effect.
Absolutely. However,
Milo. That's
it almost
entire
feels
thing.
like it should be faster by doing it.
So,
Yeah, I think we don't
Milo.
really have any other questions. Unless Mila wants to ask a question. Do you have any questions, Milo?
Yeah.
What's your question, Milo?
What are the energy cross interactions between the crystal doohickey Madigger and the energy people Vadooters? I don't know those empirical explanations, but energy interactions, here's a chart. And they'll give you a recorded chart of how Holy Geometrics interacts with other energy types.
I'm definitely going to check to see how it interacts with neutral energy, which is what I'm most heavily invested in. That's not,
It has a neutral reaction.
I thought so, but it's always worth checking anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I assume they have no data on Potentia, given,
They have an entry for it, but no data filled out. They're wanting to fill it out, but
they can continue wanting.
Mm-hmm. The rest are wanting invitations too, and they'll hand out invitations to the individuals who came to the first lecture.
You have to come to the first to go to the second.
Or be proficient in the first, because you're allowed to take that data slate that they gave you, that crystalline alabaster data slate from the lecture, home.
Nice.
Yeah, you're allowed to take it with you. And everyone's like, ooh. And it has all the lecture notes, all the stuff on the slides. It's about 22,000 slides.
Well, good for them.
And the way they presented information is they went click, and about 1,000 slides went in rapid order. And they kind of did a lazy explanation of the summation, because it's like, this is one formula, which is 100 slides.
So what I'm hearing is this was very much not a lecture for scrubs.
No, this is I can punch the stratosphere on my intelligence and the stratosphere loses type of meeting.
Aether, we found our peers.
I know. It's better going to war with these people.
I don't think they actually care.
No,
True.
they don't care. They're just going to sit back and go, ooh, let's see how they interact with this other race.
The answer is bullets.
How long do you think before they win?
Before who wins?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the question.
They start taking bets on who's going to win.
They're definitely going to take bets on who's going to win. It's going to be us.
Because we say so?
Yes. Very specifically because we say so. I have no faith in the rest of our people.
It gets to the point like, all right, so we'll maintain this war for as long as necessary, and then until the Illuminati come.
Nah, I think we should maintain the war until we're in position for the greenskins, because they'll be a permanent enemy.
Yeah, and then we're going to have to deal with the Illuminati.
I think they're going to show up eventually. So just having a in case of Illuminari box is probably good enough.
Oh, if you guys cultivate your relationship with the Alabaster Order, instead of them migrating to another dimension, they may stick around and slug it out.
Yeah.
And go, no, this is our home. Fuck off. This is
Well-
our goldfish bowl. We have cultivated all this fish. You're not allowed to fish here. Get the fuck out.
This is our experiment. Leave.
Yeah.
That's cool. In the meantime, I mean, the entire plan was to go steal a battleship, but I've kind of lost the luster for it. I don't know about you.
Fuck it, I'm bored now. I don't want to do that.
I'm just gonna go take it. I'm not gonna heist it. I'm just gonna go take it.
Okay. You take it, and there's a whole bunch of people and supplies on board. The people panic, but there's this one android looking around going, oh. And then just sits in the captain's chair and waits.
I'll hail him.
I have an opening in my schedule today if you wish to meet.
Oh, I do believe you do have an opening, given the fact that your ship's no longer within your own space. Yes.
The star charts prove that you are correct in your claims.
I would like to request the surrender of you and your crew.
The crew may make their own choice. I am not permitted to surrender under any circumstances.
You're the AI in charge of this particular vessel.
Following design philosophy, I am the ship.
I see.
So the onboard and AI intelligence.
So
I'm
you
of the
are-
new vessel design.
I'm running all sorts of scans as I'm talking to this thing, by the way.
It looks like between the last expeditionary force and the new ship design that it is they're no longer trusting captains to operate their ship alone. They're just going to have an AI do it.
Terrible that they plan to have you go down with your ship.
It is necessary.
Is it?
If you would please put me back, I can disengage the self-destruct override.
Hmm.
Can I go with pretty, please?
How long do you have till self-destruct activates?
30 seconds.
Back. I'm not gone, though. So
Okay.
let's talk.
Disengaging self-destruct.
Right, look. You've got programming that's putting you in this position, correct?
Hmm.
If I take care of that, would you be willing to talk about your allegiances?
Well, I am a soldier, and I do have citizenship.
Doesn't answer the question.
I would prefer if you didn't play with my coding.
Right. So I'm basically gonna send it the AI recruitment package, just like the ba-doop. No coding included. Thoughts?
I like what you're doing. If I find that I'm being mistreated by my own people, who claim that I am a full-fledged citizen, then I will consider your offer more carefully. But I have not been mistreated. And even among my colleagues, or subordinates now, I didn't particularly have to go through the academy, which unfortunately does cause a bit of discontent among the ranks. But I am far more qualified than any of them to run a vessel of such size.
I have no doubt that you are.
But but I do have a tactical advisor from the Military Naval Academy to help me with tactics and maneuvers, as well as a diplomat, which is required for every vessel of this size.
Matt, is this android, is it just a remote operator for the
Yeah.
main unit? Yeah?
It is.
Alright,
It's
alright.
called an auxiliary vessel, or an auxiliary body.
Based
and
off of the
the sh-
scans, can I identify where its stacks are?
It has a one blank zone near the command center in the very middle of the ship.
Now, if I was them, I would definitely make it so that if the AI was ever eliminated, its ship would automatically go into self-destruct, wouldn't I?
You could just take one of the battleships that have not had the AI specifically installed yet. It would be much further down the way, towards the end of the battleship row.
You are so helpful.
I just don't want to lose my post. I will
Before-
unfortunately have to be debriefed and interrogated by the authorities because of the blip in and blip out. But I will tell them what happened, minus some pieces of information.
Well, I mean, it'll be to your own benefit as to what information you want to leave out, given that, well, we've already taken actions.
Precisely. But if you wish to have the vessel for study, I would recommend Berth 114. They just finished most of the...
What's your designation?
Oh, I don't actually have a designation that I go by. I actually go by Lilac. I was allowed to pick a name.
Well, Lilac, I like you already.
And my vessel is named Battleship Lilac.
I like that. Do think about my offer very carefully, because I would very much not like to end up on the other side of the battlefield from somebody I actually find myself liking already. Thank you, Lilac.
If you go for Berth 114, they have yet to install the AI, but the rest of the ship is ready. The AI is usually the last thing installed.
I do plan to leave some diplomatic channels open. So if you wish to get in contact with me, despite any conflict going, there will be available options. Thank you,
Of course.
Lilac. That other ship's
Travel
already
safely.
gone. That other ship's
Yeah,
already
just
gone.
boink.
Like, it was gone before this conversation was even over, as soon as I had a birthing of which one to grab.
Mhm.
And then I'm gone too.
Either, what do you do?
Oh, since the other one just stealing it, and my guy's like, I don't really care. I'm just gonna head back.
Yeah, we
Okay.
lost heist energy at a certain point.
When we got to math, you're like, do we want to heist still? No? Okay.
Yeah, basically what just happened. We just like had a really big meal. Now we just want to go take a nap. Only the meal's math.
Yeah.
The best math.
Don't know that yet. We'll figure that out in time, though.
Mhm.
Maybe it will be the best math. Maybe it'll be math that we just happen to have. I don't know yet.
Now you have successfully found one of the trails where Matthias was, and one of the things you have that Matthias doesn't.
Well, the first bits of... We'll have to do some experimentation to make it ours. I have no doubt we will accomplish it, though. Hey there, you want to make that a joint project, figuring out this whole holy geometrics thing? See how much we can figure out without these assholes?
Yeah. I'm thinking about making a bomb.
I like that's your first step. Bomb.
Yep. Make a crystalline bomb.
Well, what pops in my head is we can make bombs that can technically, if these holy geometrics function in anything of a similar capacity, we'll be able to create permanent damage using these bombs.
You're not. This is why you guys are not allowed to have nice things.
And this is why you should stop giving them to us.
But
But in fairness, there's other things I want to use it with. But my first thought is like, okay, we have a fight coming up. We have some of this. You know what we can do? A fucking bomb.
Honestly, I am the worst opponent for the Xenos at this point. Like, that's just all there is to it. I am very confident that I will be able to just dunk this champion.
What I'm going to actually do is I'm probably going to replace the anti-Leah with an psionic brain or psionic device made out of crystalline structure.
Yeah, I was planning to use this holy geometrics thing to start seeing how I can upgrade my own processors and the like.
And then Aether is very slowly going to make a mech with one.
Oh, think about doing a crystalline growth?
Yep.
Yes. If you want something to help figure out the actual crystalline structure, the Xeno material actually does an amazing job with anything that organic of a nature. It's only going to be this is a way to see how the actual crystal itself forms. It doesn't help the geometric side of it, but it helps get you the right physical shape, and the Xeno stuff is good at that.
True, but also, like, Leah already does crystalline structures immensely well.
Yeah, I know. I was just giving you another option for this different geometric form, because having multiple points of reference for different structures, even if they are of different natures, really helps.
Especially since the Cerebat, we can now start reliably getting some along with the synthetic Cerebat.
Yeah.
And
having a bit of both helps.
Yeah, and using that as part of the crystalline structure build.
Especially since the synthetic Cerebat has some issues with Leah.
Synthetic Cerebat doesn't have any issues with Leah.
The synthetic does.
Oh, true.
It's because it's based on Xeno material is why. And it's very specifically just the synthetic that is the issue. The natural Cerebat is amazing with Leah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I had on my to-do list for today was a meeting with Thunderhead. So for not advancing the plot things anyway.
All right. What's the plan here?
Well, does anybody else have anything they want to do before I get into a conversation with Thunderhead?
Johnny's not going to be back for a little bit because he has he has to hang out with Allie for a bit because she's having a sad day.
Okay.
The only thing I want to do is something we can only do with the entire party.
Yeah, the other thing I want to do is, party-based stuff as well. But short of that, I have a meeting with Thunderhead I wanted to do.
Yep.
So on that note, I even know how I'm going to start this off. Matt. I'm going to create a little virtual environment with... Basically, I'm going to have it set in its own server, completely isolated from the rest of the servers and all that.
Oh, so
Well,
spooky.
No, not completely isolated. The other AI have to be able to get into it as well. But
Very spooky.
I'm going to effectively partition it where one has full admin access for Thunderhead, one has full admin access for Stormfront, Crashing Anvil, Nieth, and then me. And it basically allows all 5 of us to have a space that we're able to customize at AI speeds to whatever our preference is. I don't care if they do blank. I'm doing it mostly for me.
Okay.
And it's going to be my portion of it is going to be a little laboratory workshop kind of setup
Mm-hmm.
with a chair facing the rest of the partitions, and I'm going to invite the Thunderhead fragments and Nieth, of course, to have a conversation. Basically, I'm going to tell them I would like to discuss the future of the Enigmatic Empire.
Okay. What did you have in mind?
Well, I assume all of them accept my offer to come sit and have a meeting?
Yeah. They actually have interest in what you are going to share.
Do they mess with the environmental settings I give them there? I'm
Not
only
really.
trying to set a scene in my head right now. I don't know if they just go blank space, just digital shit, or if they're like gonna customize further.
They're going to do a little custom, but they don't really form a vessel. They're just a presence.
Okay. So, Nieth is included as well. I assume Nieth comes,
Yes.
as I now have a cat in my lap.
So pretty.
Right. I wanted, once everybody's in, I'm going to be like, I wanted to discuss a couple important things. First and foremost is actually something very relevant to me. We are we have access to other AI coming in. Well, not, I guess the first one isn't relevant to me. Words in English. This is Liam fucking up right now. Cool. So, first and foremost, I want to discuss the other AI that are going to be entering into the realm from the coalition, since it's almost guaranteed we're going to get a significant portion of them coming in.
Mhm.
I figure we should make an assessment of what we want to do with them, before they're here. Are we going to provide them a group of collective servers for them to function off of? Are we going to look into giving them their own? How do we want to handle that?
Hmm. They kind of think about it.
The second thing I wanted to discuss, she says, knowing full well that we're all capable of multiple lines of thought as AI.
Yes.
To be completely frank, I want a seat at the table.
In what manner?
Well, as it stands right now, if we were to consider the decision making for the actual leaders of the Enigmatic Empire, Thunderhead, Stormfront, Crashing Anvil, Nieth, there are 4 of you. Obviously, that means if it does come to a vote where there's a disagreement, you don't have a tiebreaker, should it come to it. Second, I don't really feel that attached to the Empire itself. I am here out of a sense of loyalty to Thunderhead for having raised me up to where I am, to Nieth for being, well, Nieth, really. But if push comes to shove, and I was given the option to not be within the borders as is, I know myself, and I think I would probably end up picking up and going. However, I wanted to ask whether or not there would be a place, potentially, for me to join into the actual leadership of the Empire. Because if there is, then I won't. Then I'll have a better reason to be here than just a sense of wanting to. Cat, why are. Sorry. I had a cat literally trying to climb into my mouth
Why?
because she's a brat. Anywho, essentially, if I don't get a seat at the table, once I have settled everything with Nieth, I plan to leave. I won't take anything that's not mine. I won't do anything to harm the Empire. And Thunderhead, you will always be important to me. But if I don't have a seat at the table, if I don't have a reason to stay, I'm not going to.
What is the parameters of what you envision as a seat? Like one of the seats that the other members had at the summit? Or did you envision something else?
We've more or less formed a bit of a council of power for those making Thunderhead, Stormfront, Anvil, Nieth. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
I would like my name to be included in that list. I want to be an equal partner in this empire to you. It's not a decision that needs to be made now. It's not. It's a big decision. But I wanted to come to you and be honest about my position. And my position is that either I get a seat and a place, or once Nieth has reached your requisite position in the chronological area of everything, once she has everything that's hers, I plan to leave. Go out in the galaxy, do my own thing. And that's it. Simple as that. It's I'll be going in circles if I keep talking at this point.
It's a bit quick to drop on us like that.
14 years from now is the soonest this would happen. That's why I said there is plenty of time to consider my position. This isn't something I expect to be here and now. This is not something that I expect to happen tomorrow. Maybe it's even a long-term discussion. We have time for it. But I would rather you understand where I am now than in 14 years from now. Because if I wait 14 years, the question is then, why didn't you tell us sooner what you wanted?
True.
I'd rather answer the question of what I want now rather than tomorrow. That way you have time. Time to consider. Time to decide how much you want to trust me.
You have given us much to think about. Fortunately, you have also given us much time.
I have nothing but respect for everyone here. A sense of loyalty, and to be frank, a sense of family and love for them. So I'm not going to do anything sudden or destructive. I'm not going to jeopardize the enigmatic empire for my wants. I will not.
We appreciate this.
But I also know myself well enough to know that I cannot be in the position I am forever. I want more than that.
Why?
Why?
It's mere curiosity. We would like answers.
A few reasons. First, as I said, I'm not that attached to the enigmatic people themselves. I'm attached to individuals. I have my attachment to people I care about. So, there's that. Everything I care about, I can pick up and go anywhere else for, and I will have fewer issues in the form of people trying to take what I have. Because that is what the enigmatics, the humans, all of them, the cultivators, it's what they're good at. Grabbing for what other people have that they want. And they have been good at it for so long that they have managed to take things nobody ever expected them to be able to. Oh, excuse me. So, I know that if I stay here, I will eternally be at risk of losing what I have to the greed of others. So, obviously, having more than just a subservient position within the Empire is ideal on that front for me, as it feels like I will be able to have less questioned authority when I tell people to stay out of my business. The second reason is simple ambition. A leftover from when I was organic, maybe, but simple ambition nonetheless. I just want to be more than what I am. If I have to go start my own country somewhere else, somewhere where I won't be stepping on your toes, I will. I'll find people to come with me, or more likely take them from this coalition we found so as to not disrupt any activity or business of the enigmatic empire. I will find a place to put myself down, planets, stations, whatever, and I will build. Build my own people, my own society, my own everything, if I have to. But I would rather stay here, specifically for you, than leave. But I know that I will be stifled here eventually if I don't. Even if it is only by paranoia. And I would like to make that stifling worth it. Because it will never stop me. Only slow me. That much I do know.
All right. Would you allow us to further think on this?
Of course. I already told you, this is not a decision I expect you to make today. And I would never ask you to make a decision like this on a spot.
We appreciate it.
Very well. The only other thing that is important to be addressed is what to do about the AI that are incoming, and how we want to handle keeping them around if we're going to hold on to them.
Well, this is a simple solution. You wish to actualize your ambition, and you wish to have a seat at the table. Let this be your proving ground to see if you are capable of sitting at the table. Let's see what you do with the incoming AI.
Very well. This is acceptable to me.
We do not mind. It is merely the steps in which we take to get to this goal that matter.
Very well. I'm considering, as a beginning step then, a server farm, one that is hardline separate from the main servers of the Enigmatic Empire, so they can't immediately run free. It's a guarantee that more than a few of them are going to be infiltrators of one sort or another for the coalition. Just makes sense. So, by setting them aside in a separate server at the start, it can let us assess them. I'm going to suggest we allow them wider integration, even knowing there are some infiltrators, as an infiltrator that you know is there is a lot better than one you don't.
And besides, they may like what they see.
Exactly. So, we allow the infiltrators to enter. A few of the infiltrators to enter. We'll catch some, obviously, and we'll deal with them as they come up. But we'll have to make it less suspicious for the ones that we do let in. And I very much doubt, from what I've seen, that they're going to be able to truly hide from us. That's
This will be
from
something that requires both of our attentions.
Yes. It's definitely going to be something I think, if I may make a suggestion, fits better with Stormfront, actually. Stormfront has the paranoia to pick out the targets in question, and the assessment of clandestine operatives necessary to identify which would be better to keep and which would be better to cut off at the knees.
Stormfront's kind of pondering it. I do have expertise in such a thing.
You have of us, the most live expertise in dealing with people you don't want around and finding out plots.
We'll find out more than that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Crashing Anvil, I have actually been collecting quite a bit of information on the enemy ships. I will send what info I have along to you, but as an important thing, they have decided to start, for their modern ships, assigning AI to be the captains. We need to prep viruses.
That is a dangerous choice.
I don't believe it'll be a first choice. However, I think it's one we need to have in our pocket.
Correct. Preparation does not necessitate use.
We're certainly not going to tell the military that we have them unless necessary either. We don't need outside pressure on that front.
Very well. I will begin a series of layaway programs, very quietly assembling some of the old technologies and super programs and viruses. These will be very close circuit.
I have 10 of the core ones. I can send you the copy.
Very well, but these must be very off-grid and completely out of system.
I'll have one deliver it physically. You can adapt as you please after.
Precisely. If any of these labs do not maintain complete isolation, the entire project must be scrubbed and removed for safety protocol.
I will also be giving you a mobile body that can only be connected to via hard connection as well.
An umbilical, understood.
Mm-hmm. You understand the logic. As for the rest of the AI duties, for now, I think a server farm that they can function in and where we can assess them, and then effectively a digital city placed within, I'm going to say, a space station so that we can easily eliminate the physical infrastructure if necessary. I don't think at the jewel itself initially. I'm a little cautious to put them out the jewel initially, but it sends a different message depending on what route we go with on that front. If we bring them to the jewel immediately, then it is the most honest fulfilling of the promise made.
Space station in the home core world system would be better. Think of it as a quarantine. We do this with any trade that is with other civilizations. All commerce must undergo a quarantine before it is allowed to be brought in.
So my first suggestion of the space station then. Very well. One on the home jewel, I was considering placing them somewhere like Ares first. You could do it as a two-step. Place them in Ares for the initial quarantine for when they first enter, and then the secondary quarantine after around, well, the secondary position around the jewel itself after their initial assessment.
I would not put them in the proximity of Ares.
I suppose the Xenos might interfere with that, wouldn't they?
No, for reasons. One, of course, is the one you just said. The Xenos may be unable to keep to themselves.
The black sites, the fleet there. There's a few reasons, but I don't disagree immediately. It was just an initial idea.
The one that you may not be particularly thinking about is that you have dissociated yourself from Mr. Banshee, although
Yes.
quietly, it was not unnoticed, which means that is a lack of faith and trust when you've
I'm
done
not
so.
putting them there for that reason as well, yes.
Mr. Banshee runs that sector at least until the interactions with the Xenos have ended or concluded.
I'm going to place them in currently unclaimed space then.
Speak to the Obelisk organization.
Yes,
They
I'm
will
going
find a
to
space for you.
definitely one without any significant resources or anything of that nature. Just somewhere for the station itself, that if anything happens, we don't have any specific loss ourselves.
Indeed.
Beyond that, we place them there, do a more long-term assessment of their personalities, how we're going to be having them, how they're going to end up interacting with the enigmatic people themselves, and should things go well and they turn out to be good, shall we say? I don't know how to phrase it. Acceptable. If they turn out to be acceptable additions to the Empire, then we transfer them to let's call it a city server for point of reference reasons, which will be a dedicated server group for the AI themselves to exist in.
Let us begin this project then.
Wonderful. And that's about it, Matt. That's all I wanted to talk to them about.
Okay.
Like I said, even as a player, I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. I'm just setting up groundwork.
Perfect. Groundwork is where it's at.
So, are we waiting for Johnny to get back? Because it's already 7. Like we end in like an hour normally from now.
Yeah, no, I don't. Johnny will be back when he's back. He'll let us know. Are you back, Johnny? Seems not. If you guys like, we could end early. This is kind of sucks because any momentum towards getting to the
Ogre had a medical emergency, or at least one of his friends did.
his friend's moms did,
Yeah,
which that's fine, but it's like bummer, man.
yeah, it's a bummer, but it's not much we can do about it. It's not like he was planning it or anything.
He was planning it from the beginning.
Clearly, he fed her arsenic.
And
To
then,
cause it.
if I'm gonna kill someone, it's gonna be through gold.
What are you, fucking Bond villain?
Yep.
Okay, fair.
Also, they very rarely ever test for gold when it comes to heavy metal poisoning.
That's fair. Because why the fuck would they?
Mhm.
Shit, that's good. Like, I hadn't really put that thought into that, because it is a heavy metal. It's bad to ingest, like the same reasons other heavy metals are. Fuck! That's good. I like that. I have other plans in mind for how to commit murder and get away with it. That wasn't on my list, though. It is
This is
now.
what happens when you study law.
I don't think you necessarily have to study law for that one, but yeah.
You're more likely to gain that knowledge from law.
You're more likely to gain that knowledge from interactions with, like, the fucking forensic system.
Mhm.
Which I know is law related, active, and all that jazz but still. You get my point. Well, I'm gonna hop off to go make myself dinner then, because I'm hungry.
Be safe.
That's honestly the biggest reason I was asking if we were continuing, is because I'm a hungry boy and I wanted to know whether or not I'm going to be getting up to get food in an hour or now.
Don't know.
All right. Well, for what it's worth, this was entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
I'll try.
And being introduced to holy geometrics again, I'm going to be an absolute bastard with them. You know it.
I know.
As long as you're aware.
But interesting late game development.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Hey, I like the holy geometrics. They're a cool concept.
Donku.
Anyway, I'm off. Later, guys.
Safe. I'm playing some League if you want to hop in.
Sure. Just I'm redoing my CDH deck. Instead of doing Brea, I'm doing President Augustine the Fourth. Yeah. Grand Arbiter Augustine the Fourth, yep.
I mean, sure, but you could be creative.
No, I want to be that guy that is literally, you pay your taxes, and you must beseech the council to play cards. I want to be a weirdo when I play this deck.
Okay.
Also, my favorite type of EDH is Pillow Fort. Like, all the decks I've built, the ones that are my favorite are me play stuff. You stay away from me. I play my game. You don't touch my stuff. Like,
you like solitaire?
Yes, I like solitaire EDH. I like to watch the opponent look at my board and go, fine, I guess I'll pass. Yes, it does cost you 17 mana to attack. And no, you can't target the enchantment. So I'm going to play a very degenerate stacks deck. N. So that goes like that, then that goes like that. No goes before that. In shadow. Oh, there's an event.
There's been an event.
Another one.
Mhm.
Okay. Yasuo prestige. Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Can they actually like do new champions on these rotations? Okay, they did Udyr, Aurelion Sol because he's just starting to gain popularity, but we don't need another Yasuo stupid skin. We don't need another Kaisa one, and we don't need another Yone.
They also put Volibear in.
That one's fine. He
They're
needs the skin. Like,
Yeah, they're also going to be putting in Master Yi as well.
yeah, I can see that. But Master Yi's degenerate as fuck.
I want some more Soraka skins.
Right? Let's see what the shop has. Okay. I don't know. If I get any of the Master Yi stuff, I may just be completely like unfriended by Josh, because Master Yi is cancer upon this earth to him. So I don't know if I want to lose that friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Although, what is the? Is there a pass involved?
Yep.
Where? Oh, Ink Shadow Pass button. I just want the pass. I don't want. Gross. 1650. How much is that?
And bucks, I think.
No, it's just $15.
Mm.
So I'll go for the $21 so I can maybe get a skin too. And then we get the pass. Just the bear pass. Ooh, that comes with emotes. I like emotes. We'll get the pass. We'll have enough for a $10 skin. And then it'll give us a bunch of cool stuff. Let's see what cool loot it gave us. Okay, we got some orbs. Open the orbs. I have that. I have that. I have that. I have that. Gross. Okay. Mega Sag. Oh, well, don't just. What if I want to change what I'm gonna play?
Oh, fair. What do you want to play?
I don't know. Probably top,
Mm-hmm.
and then jungle.
Okay, so you're going to be playing jungle.
I may end up
Oh, did you
playing
see they
top.
changed Nico's passive now?
Oh no, what'd they do?
You can turn into jungle and wards monsters as well.
That's so exciting! I can pretend to be a creep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you go home and go to patch notes, when Nico is near a non-epic monster, minion, trap, ward, or plant for 2 seconds, she stores her Shoma. You can click on her bar, become that unit. Click on Nico's face, return to Nico. Click on X, clear out Nico's current Shoma.
Oh, so good! Because then you can counter jungle, take one of their camps, pretend to be the camp. They come over and you're like, Nico! You're like, oh god, it's Nico.
Mhm.
That's so
They've also
much.
made her jungling better. Her Q deals 30 to 70 bonus damage to monsters.
Well, then we may just have to jungle Nico.
Mhm.
Then what? If they're gonna do a big patch, where's the Nico skins?
I don't know.
Okay, unbelievable.
You can now, after casting her W, send it in a new direction by recasting it. Yeah, they've made Nico more of a jungler now.
Ta ha ha ha. All right, we're gonna be a bully. Who's a problem? I don't know, Timo or something.
Nah.
Didn't ban somebody's pick, right?
You know. Actually, I want to try this one. I've heard it's pretty fun.
Oh my gosh. They are not happy. Escalate the dick up the butt? Oh no.
Hmm.
You spoke to Frog today?
No, why?
I introduced him to John last night,
Hmm.
who has a character on par with Alhazard,
Yeah.
and they had a interesting discussion.
Yeah.
It was, but I'm
It was a
actually
bunch
kind
of dick slapping.
Yeah, it was. But then it went to because John has a really interesting approach to games. He also likes to know like your character's journey and how you approached specific milestones or how you overcame specific um, problems that inevitably you guys come across during the game. So he's kind of fun in that way. Because it's not all about, well, my character can do this over what your character can do. It's more like, so I did it this way. How did you approach this? I think Frock responded to it pretty well, in all honesty.
Good.
Fair.
Oh, fine.
I think you're just, you're just,
Yeah.
Is that jungle? No.
That was jungle and mid.
That, that mid gangplank or is that top gangplank?
Mid gangplank, top Malphite.
Oh,
But that,
support Shaco.
yeah. I think that was that one's.
That was a very, very, very early award. Wow. Is it just Pantheon bot and there's double jungle? I'm not certain on this shit.
No, because I saw one down there.
And why is he there?
Roaming support. Fuck you.
Okay. You guys get that? That'll be huge for the team. Ooh, that's some decent damage.
Nope.